I'm back. Brief hiatus. This past Friday, I got sick. My daughter got sick. Then separated by a week, my son got sick. And then it hit me, so I tell you what, just reflecting on this past week, let's see, what day was it? So this past Thursday started my 7 days off at work. I work in a power plant, and we work on what's called a modified DuPont schedule. So it's I can't even tell you what my schedule is without looking at my calendar, but it rotates. It rotates days, it rotates nights. But every 5 weeks, I believe, I get 7 days off in a row. And this illness just so happened to correspond with my getting sick. It also happened to correspond with my kids going back to their mom's house. So, shoot. That light reminds me that I forgot to power this off. While I'm thinking of it, there was some worry about this lid coming down on me. I mean, it doesn't weigh anything. Even if it were to just collapse, I think I can overcome that weight and push it off of me. We got a couple wires going in here, which is a good reason for concern. This wire, not so much. I believe this is just a thermocouple. Not normally carrying any current. Imagine a short could happen to it, but if a short happened, it would happen in this pump wire. So it's a good reminder to, that light is supposed to be a good indication. The lights in front of me are supposed to be a good indication to remind me to turn this off. But for some reason, I guess psyching myself up to get in, I overlook some of the obvious steps I need to take first. So going back to my, I was off work for 7 days, and it just so happened to coincide with me not having my kids and getting sick. And I tell you what, It was just the most enjoyable sickness I've had in a while. There was nothing that was required of me. There was nothing that was expected of me. I was just able to sit in my isolation and be sick. Watched football, played PUBG on my phone, and that was it. I just didn't do anything. I just sat in my chair, turned off all my expectations, and I just rested. I didn't run. I didn't do ice baths. I just allowed myself to be sick without any expectations on me. And I have discovered that I think the largest point of my anxiety comes from expectations that I put on myself. Expectations to be a good dad, expectations to be productive, expectations to not waste my life, expectations to be a good Christian. There's just expectations that I put on myself, and these expectations, I think, are the biggest point of anxiety. So taking this past week off, giving myself complete freedom to do nothing, to be sick, to recover, no expectations. It was enjoyable. It was a very restful week. I mean, I was sick. I didn't feel good. But grading this 7 days off, I've got to give it an A+. Generally, when I have my 7 days off, I put all these expectations on myself, not to waste my 7 days off, to do something, to be productive, to make this 7 days off worth it. And what I generally do is I just put these expectations on myself. I don't really ever do anything super productive, super cool. And then I just grade my 7 days off poorly because of these expectations, these failed expectations. So being sick was actually it was a gift. It was a gift to relax. It was a gift to not expect anything for myself. I'm glad I didn't have to work. I'm glad. I love my kids. I miss my kids when they're not with me. But one of the benefits of not having your kids all the time is that you don't have your kids all the time. And it just so happened to work out that in the midst of being sick, I didn't have to take care of my kids. I didn't have to make sure their meals were prepared and that I was entertaining them, being a good dad. I just got to be sick. So, expectations. I've got to find a better, healthier way to manage my expectations of myself. What it looks like to not give up on expectations, but just to manage them better, because they really are the biggest source of anxiety in my life. Getting back in the cold water today was really just a step towards discipline after coming out of this 7 days of just letting myself go. So I didn't go for a run today. I did go for a walk, about a 30-minute walk, just to get the blood pumping. I'm not a good runner. I suck at running. I run about 1.5 miles or about 12 minutes every day normally. And I'll tell you what, every day it's hard. It's not easy. I've got a tinge of asthma, and it makes running difficult. But I do it because I think it helps me feel better. But today I just walked, got some sunshine, got some fresh air. And getting back in the cold plunge was just a step towards discipline, getting ready for a big week. I'll be going back into work at 5 o'clock. Well, to be there ready to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, Thursday through Sunday. I get my kids back tomorrow. So it's just a time to turn it back on, come out of vacation mode, get ready for whatever this week has in store for me. Hopefully it'll be a good week at work. Normally the Thursday through Sunday shift is a pretty good one. There's not a whole lot. Generally, there's not a whole lot to do. So as long as we can keep the power plant on and going, and it should be easy peasy. That's always the hope for a a weekend shift. So we've already overcome 10 minutes. I think getting back in the water is also just sort of a test. I wasn't sure how it was going to be getting back in after being sick, after having not been in here for a week. I didn't know if it was going to be just really difficult, if my body had already completely back adjusted away from being in the cold water. It was a little bit more difficult getting in the cold water this time than it was the last time I got in here. The psychological part I was prepared for. I think just the cold water shock it took a few more seconds to get used to. So I'm back. This is the 8th cold plunge. I took about 6 days off. What day is it? Today's Wednesday, Thursday. I might take 7 days off. Whatever it was, I took them off. I don't feel bad about it. I feel good. Feel good. Take a vacation. Take a vacation from everything. Thankfully, I am feeling mostly better. I still feel a little bit. My energy is still a little bit low. But this illness, generally, illnesses take the same path for me. They always take that, maybe start in the throat, work their way to my sinuses, and then they end up in my crappy lungs, which generally takes me the longest to get over. Sometimes it takes me weeks to get over a cold just because I've accumulated so much junk in my lungs. It takes me a while to get that cleared out. But for some reason, I'm not going to say it was the cold plunges. I don't know. It was probably just the brand of cold that I caught. I don't know. Maybe it's just the ability to completely take it easy and rest for 7 days. I don't know. But it really never made it to my lungs where I get that painful cough I have to deal with sometimes for a week or so in and of itself. But it's like it started in my throat, then sinuses, and just sort of hung out there. Sometimes I just document stuff for myself. Looks like we are picking up some more viewers, which is surprising. It's nice to have people hanging out with you. You know, the talking I'm doing to camera now is the absolute most talking that I've done this past week. And then I might be talking to other humans out there is a bit encouraging. I did cut my hair also. I've cut my hair for years. I keep my hair pretty short, so I've got to get a haircut at 2 weeks, and I don't even know what a haircut costs these days, including tip. I assume it's around 25 bucks. So save myself 50 bucks a month, and I find that I just do a better job than the people do. I'm just more attentive to the small details than the cheap places that I would normally go, who just want to get you in, get you out. So I feel like getting a haircut is a big psychological boost to just self-care. Guys, there's only so much we can do to help ourselves sort of look better, feel better, and a haircut is about 90% of that. You know, shaving a haircut, take a shower, it's about all we got. So, yeah. Once you're in here, it is relaxing. Give yourself about a minute to adjust to the cold, if that. And you're really just in a sort of a place of relaxation. So I don't know if getting back in the cold water is good for me or not. I have no idea. I've heard that cold water increases your white blood cells. Maybe that's good for preventing getting sick. I don't know. Coming off of a cold, if it boosts my immune system or not. We'll see. This is really just sort of an experiment and also a step getting back disciplined, as tomorrow I have to wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if I'm going to run tomorrow. We'll see. I'm going to try to do the cold plunge no matter what. I think I'm going to start a jog, and if it's not going well, I'm not going to put pressure on myself to push through. I'm just going to tap out, get home, do the plunge, and see where that starts us for the day. I did have the thermostat set for 48 degrees, which I've sort of peaked in here the past few days, and it has hit 48 degrees, but just based on when this kicks off and kicks back on, that the temperature drifts up. So, excuse me. It was about 50 degrees or so. 50 point something when I got in here, which I was hoping that this was going to be the start of the 40 degree. I was moving from week 1 into week 2 of cold plunges, hitting the 40 degrees range, but I'm still in the 50s. That is 20 minutes. I didn't really have a goal when I got in here. My goal was to get in here, get it going again, and expectations met. expectations exceeded. Any of you guys out there struggle with expectations, putting pressure on yourself? Do you find that that is a source of anxiety for you? What are your tools? What are your methods for turning down those expectations and being present and just turning it down, turning down the expectations that you put on yourself, that you feel are put on you. Yeah, expectations I don't think are bad. I think there are expectations. I think there are good expectations. I think I expect myself to do things. I think others expect me to do things. And I think those are accurate. I think they're right. I think they are appropriate. So the problem isn't the expectations, I think it's the stress of the expectations. All right, about 22 minutes. I'm going to call it. Thanks for joining me. See you guys early in the morning.